just Simon Banks. Let's start on the PNG question because Mr Albanese was there a few weeks ago. They didn't sign it off. It was around the time of the 50th independence celebrations. And at the time, James Marape said, look, we didn't get a quorum for the cabinet. Yeah, everyone was out and about in the provinces. And the communication telco signals aren't that great in PNG to be able to have a cabinet remotely, but they did get it signed off, and today they're signing with the PM.
Yeah, look, I mean, the very clear indications at the time, and you heard that from Scott Morrison, he was on at the time a couple of weeks ago, was that this was really just an internal process and timing issue for the PNG government. So, look, I mean, I'm just glad it's been signed. This is a very important agreement. It really does cement Australia's security to our north in a very important way. And I think when we talk, for example, about the upcoming meeting between Prime Minister Albanese and President Trump, they will be looking at the contribution that Australia is making through treaties like this, through arrangements in the South Pacific, to the security of the region. And I think they will be regarded as very important contributions.
Yeah, it's a good point, because the PM heads to Washington in a couple of weeks.
Correct.
And it's not just... There's obviously the defence spend, that's one thing, and the government's been doing stuff overtly on that front, whether it be the Henderson shipyards or whatever else, but billions additional announced. But this is also a treaty to say, look, we are looking after our front yard as well.
Well, correct. I mean, this is our region. We take responsibility for it. And I think what you can see, a treaty in this case initiated from the PNG end, so clearly in their interests, but nonetheless, a critical part of the architecture for national security in the region. And as I said, I think it's a really important development today.
On the Hastie resignation, the Dutton criticism that's been leaked, I think James Patterson really hit the nail on the head when he spoke to Laura Jays earlier, saying, I hope that this is the last leak that we see from this process. Because, I mean, as a journalist, we like leaks and we like to hear what's happening. But from a political party that's trying to rebuild, that report, the post-election analysis, has got to land with some gravity.
Well, correct. And look, I've been on the inside, on the other side, Kieran, when there have been internal trouble, and it's very hard.
Been at the low ebb.
It's very hard to get, a control of these issues. I think one of the concerns about the leakage today, about Peter Dutton's comments, when people can have a view one way or the other about the substance of the comments, but the very purpose of these reviews is so that people can actually give pretty frank assessments to the reviewers, so that they can make the best judgment they can about what the party needs to do to move forward. So this undermines even that fundamental process. So look, I don't think it's helpful to anyone. Look, I mean, the Liberal Party have got to sort themselves out. It's as simple as that.
You, as you rightly point out, I mean, you've been in those senior offices when Labor was coming out of a massive election loss, and I remember, the late Simon Crean. You worked in his office as opposition leader, and he was facing those challenges where internally he was being undermined, and externally it was just hard to get any momentum.
It's hard to get clear air and hard to get your message across. So look, I think there is a difference though this time around, Kieran, which was that, look, the challenges that the Labor Party had at that time were predominantly personality driven and really about whether people felt that, in that case, Simon was the best salesperson for the party. What we're seeing, though, here is a more fundamental divide that's going on inside the Liberal Party. This is about what their fundamental future direction looks like. Those people like Susan Lee who think they need to tack back towards the centre, where, to be honest, that's where elections in Australia are won, or those who think they need to protect their right-wing flank from parties like One Nation. This is a fundamental philosophical as well as personal disagreement that's going on, and I don't think there's an easy resolution of that.
No, it's a good point. Simon Banks, thank you.